Hey everybody, this is Deb with Truthification Chronicles, and I'm working on some election stuff, but it's hard to keep up with everything because it's all changing so fast. So by the time I get ready to upload something, it's like, oh, old news by now. So let's take a little sidetrack here because this is something that's supposed to happen tomorrow on the 14th. So let's see what happens. I'm not sure anything is, but we'll see. I don't know if you're familiar with Judicial Watch, but they're an awesome organization. They've really been working for us, we the people, getting FOIA requests and finding out information that most of us couldn't do, because when you submit a FOIA request, a lot of times they try to block it, and then you have to go in and have lawyers do it. And so they have a bunch of lawyers, and this is what their lawyers do. They are hard at work, and believe it or not, yes, they're still working on Hillary Clinton. So it is not a dead issue. They are working on it, and not only them, but I think there's some stuff going on behind the scenes too, because the Clinton Foundation was mentioned in the IG report, and it was in the terms of an ongoing investigation, and we've seen other evidence that there still is an ongoing investigation into the Clinton Foundation. So don't give up hope yet, folks. We're getting closer all the time. It probably won't happen until after the courts-martial manual updates are implemented at the beginning of January, so we will see what happens. But anyway, in the meantime, like I said, this is supposed to happen on the 14th. What is it? Well, they have a federal court hearing to compel testimony from Hillary Clinton and make the video depositions public. So we could be watching some video depositions in the near future. Wouldn't that be fun? But I'm not sure. It all depends on what the court says, but they do have an actual court date. And as you can see, this was put out today, which is November 13th, and we'll see what happens. The public and media have a right to a full accounting from top officials of the Clinton State Department, and I agree with him on that. We do have that right. Judicial Watch announced today that a hearing will be held in federal court Wednesday, November 14th, on a motion to compel further testimony from former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and Director of Information Resource Management of the Executive Secretariat John Bentel, as well as make public the audio-visual recordings of the depositions of top Clinton aides and State Department officials, including Huma Abedin and Cheryl Mills. Oh, I'd like to hear what they said when they were deposed. Ooh, it could be good. Yeah, there was probably... I refuse to answer on grounds it'll incriminate me. Clinton claimed that she does not recall 20 times in her under oath responses to 25 Judicial Watch questions concerning her Clinton.com non-state.gov government email system. Bentel asserted his Fifth Amendment right and refused to answer 87 questions at his deposition. And he is like an IT guy, so that's how he comes into play. The hearing is before U.S. District Court Judge Emmett G. Sullivan, Wednesday, November 14th, 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, courtroom 24A. So I guess if you live around Washington, D.C., you probably could go see this. I don't know. I don't know much about courts because I've spent very little time in the court system, so, which is a good thing, right? So I'm not sure about it, but anyway, this is where it will be and what's going to go on. And the hearing was rescheduled from, look at this, October 11th it was supposed to take place. And I'd heard about that, but I hadn't heard any update on it until today. And is the latest development in a Judicial Watch Freedom of Information Act, that's what FOIA stands for, by the way, lawsuit about the controversial employment status of Huma Abedin, former Deputy Chief of Staff to Clinton. The lawsuit, which seeks records regarding the authorization for Abedin to engage in outside employment while employed by the Department of State, was reopened because of revelations about the Clinton email.com system. Judicial Watch v. U.S. Department of State, and you can click on those links and you can see more about those if you want to. I'll put the links for this down below. In 2016, Hillary Clinton was required to submit, under oath, written answers to Judicial Watch's questions. Clinton objected to and refused to answer questions about the creation of her email system, her decision to use the system despite warnings from State Department cybersecurity officials, and the basis for her claim that the State Department had 90 to 95% of her emails. Judge Sullivan is considering Judicial Watch's motion to compel answers to these questions. Let's hope he considers that she needs to do that. In her responses sent to Judicial Watch and the court on October 13, 2016, Clinton refused to answer 3 questions and responded that she does not recall 20 times concerning her ClintonEmail.com email system. She preceded her responses by 8 general objections and 2 objections to definitions. The words object or objection appear 84 times throughout the 23-page document submitted to the court and Judicial Watch. She was trying to get out of it. We know that, right? She just didn't want to answer the questions. And one of the reasons she might say, I don't recall, is because if she does say something and then it's proven false later on, they can get her for perjury. So in order not to perjure herself, you can't get perjured if you say, I don't recall, I don't recall, I don't recall. 20 times. And all the objection going on. 84 times. That's a lot. The public and media have a right to a full accounting from top officials of the Clinton State Department, said Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton. In lieu of a much-needed, new, and untainted investigation by the FBI, the continued work of Judicial Watch in the courts is clearly the only hope of bringing sunlight into the Clinton email issue and completing the public record. Now, frankly, I don't think it's the only hope. I think there's more going on because the IG report gave some hints to that, and we've seen some other indications in other places that there still is an ongoing Clinton investigation. In fact, I have a video on that. So don't give up hope yet. I don't think Judicial Watch is our last hope, but I do think that they're part of the process. So it's good that they're doing this for us. And not only are they trying to get Hillary to actually answer some questions, but they also want to have the videos of the depositions that were taken released. Ooh, I'd love to see these videos. Now, she, as far as I know, she did not do a video, and it doesn't seem to say that here. But if we've got a video of Huma Abedin, if we've got one of Cheryl Mills, and some of the other people who were part of all this, it could get really good. I don't know. We'll see. And notice that this was December 5th of 2016 when they first filed this. So they've been working on this for a really long time. A lot of people don't know about this, but it is going on, and they're doing some really good work. News media organizations also on record supporting public release. Judicial Watch today announced it filed a motion that seeks to unseal the audio-visual recordings of the depositions of top Clinton aides and State Department officials. The depositions come in connection with a Judicial Watch Freedom of Information Act lawsuit that seeks records about the controversial employment status of Huma Abedin, Deputy Chief of Staff to former Secretary Clinton. And you can see that case there. Judicial Watch argues that even though the election is over, the news media and public continue to monitor and follow the proceedings in this case. A coalition of 19 news media organizations is already on record with the court supporting public access to the videos. Now, this was back in December of 2016. It still hasn't happened. But tomorrow there's supposed to be a hearing. So what's going to happen? I hope it's not nothing again. We'll see. The motion is opposed by the State Department, surprise, surprise, as well as Abedin. Now keep in mind this was still in the transition period. So Trump had not taken real power yet. He hadn't been inaugurated, so it was still Obama's people. Which explains why they would oppose it, right? The State Department. As well as Abedin, former State Department Director of Information Resource Management of the Executive Secretariat. Boy, that guy's got a long title. John Bentel, who took the Fifth Amendment in response to questions at his deposition. Cheryl D. Mills, Clinton's Chief of Staff throughout her 4 years as Secretary of State. And Brian Pagliano, State Department Schedule C employee who has been reported to have serviced and maintained the server that hosted the Clinton email.com system. Pagliano has asserted his Fifth Amendment right in refusing to answer questions in his deposition in this case. Judicial Watch argues the court has stated the public has a right to know details related to the creation, purpose, and use of the Clinton email.com system. Because the public has a right to know, the audio-visual recordings of the depositions in this case must be unsealed. The sole reason for sealing the recordings in the first place was to avoid their misuse during the 2016 campaign season. Now that the election is over, the reason no longer exists. Oh, yes, it still does, because it's going to incriminate her. People will find out what she's really like. And remember, we're talking Obama was still in power at this time. Trump hadn't been inaugurated yet, so it was still Obama's people. So, yes, they still had reason to keep everything under wraps. They did not want it coming out. Prior to her deposition, Mills moved for a court seal on the audio-visual recordings of her deposition. Subsequently, the court granted Ms. Mills' motion and also sealed the audio-visual recordings of all depositions until further notice. Now, I think it's far past time for those to come out. The public and the media have a right to see these deposition videos of top officials from the Clinton State Department, said Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton. The courts and the continued work of Judicial Watch is clearly the only hope of bringing sunlight. I think we said that once before, right? The only hope of bringing sunlight into the Clinton email issue and completing the public record. Now, for a full history of this case, you can click here, and it will take you to a page where it shows you the different press releases having to do with the different stages of what they've been working on. As you can see, they've been working on it for a long time, and in fact, it starts down here at the bottom. Sorry about the speed there. July 14th, 2016, because this was after she had supposedly talked to the FBI. So that was the first thing. They wanted the FOIA on that. And they've been working on it, all the different things that they've been doing, all the different steps to try to get there. They have not left it alone. And the court orders new Clinton email production by September 13th. And that was supposedly in 2016. They got trickles of them. They didn't get very much, but they got some trickles. And then the last one that's listed on here is 2017, June 8th, 2017. I don't know why they don't have anything since then, but you know, the court systems are just running really, really slow, especially when it has to do with Clinton, right? But we're working on it. And maybe this new Whitaker guy, who is now the temporary AG, let's see if maybe he focuses on this and he lets some stuff out. It'd be really great if they could release these video depositions. That would be huge. I'm not going to hold my breath waiting on it, but at least they got a court date, so I thought I would send that off to you and let you see it. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Probably nothing. Probably it'll be delayed again, or it'll be no, or whatever, but we at least have a chance, and we'll see what happens with the Judicial Watch tomorrow. They are doing a great job. Keep up with them. They are on YouTube. You can follow them there. You can follow their website. They're working to get FOIA requests on a lot of different topics, so it's really a good thing to keep up with them because there's a lot of information out there in our government, and they're getting access to it. Well, thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you later.